Inside High School Hoops, Season 2. We are back, Episode 1, with my man ISO Ani. The ISO Ani phenomenon has blown up. Can we just talk about that for a minute?
It has.
It started right here.
It did.
Like this dude's going viral with ISO Ani. So talk about ISO Ani before we do our clear out, before we get to Season 2. You got to talk about ISO Ani real quick.
Yeah, so ISO Ani, like you said, Burton, it started here, right? When I had my 45 segments when I went straight acapella. So what ISO Ani is, and my production team head by Kiki Christmas, we interviewed the top players in the country. We did the first 2 episodes with Keontae George, who's a top 3 player in the country in 2022, and Casey Wallace, who's a top 10 player in the country. So, obviously
one going to Baylor, one going to Kentucky.
Right.
One went viral.
For sure. So, when you read the articles on these kids, right, or the interviews has always been, and no offense to people in that field, recruitment, right? Your top 10, your top 5, and want to do something different. So I want to actually get to know the kid. We know the kid's basketball background from Keontae being left-handed at first when he started playing basketball. Payson, playing 8U as a 5-year-old and only playing on one half of the court because they said he couldn't help them.
I like that one.
So stuff like that, and it just get to know the kid. I wanted to get to know the kid deeper than just, what's your top 5, top 10. I'm gonna know where you're gonna go. Because it's gonna be posted on the internet at some point.
Right.
And I'm gonna get some intel. And I'm gonna get some.
Who are you?
Right. Right. Who are you? So that's ISO.
You did tell Casey Wallace he think he a bucket, not today, but he still got you though.
Yeah, he still got me. He got me. They go one-on-one with me. Sometimes I let him have it. The next guest that we got coming up, I don't know if I let him have it. He's gonna have to work for it.
I like it. All right, so this season we're gonna get to it, man. We got some fun stuff, got some fun guests coming on later that you guys will see. 2 big events coming up this weekend that we'll kind of cover and talk to those guys. But the order of the show, we're gonna go with a clear out, kind of like when you hoop and it's like, yo, get out the way. Whether it's 1-4 flat, whether it's on the side, we're going isolation Ani with the clear out to start. 6 topics that Ani is going to dive into a little bit deeper. Then we'll go with a couple other little segments, look ahead to what's coming, and then we'll let you guys keep it moving. So the first topic within the clear out is the Phil Mcneely Showcase. Tell us a little bit about that. Let's give you that ISO Ani time.
All right, clear out. So the Phil Mcneely Classic, it was a tournament in honor of Phil Mcneely, who coached at Duncanville High School for 25 years, 3 state titles, won 704 games and lost 170, which is mad impressive. So it was the first year of the Classic. A couple notes, we had Duncanville play Lancaster, generally a big-time matchup. This year, wasn't so. Duncanville won by like 40 points, but Ronald Holland, the 2023 forward, has really been doing his thing. Obviously, rebounding, his athleticism in the open court, playing above the rim, but Ron has really been working on his game, so his shot making has been very impressive. Confident, making shots from deep, and he's someone you have to close out on. And from deep now. So him being a perimeter threat has expanded his game, has made him a way tougher guard, and someone that you can actually kind of run your offense through. He's starting to become a kid that can do that. Another game, a note, even before that Duncanville Lancaster game was Kimball versus Faith Family. So this was an interesting one. You had Trey Clayton, who's now at Kimball, that used to go to Faith Family and help lead them to their first state championship as a freshman. So, there were some emotions involved. Kimball was actually down by 25 points against Faith Family. It looked like a runaway for Faith Family. They're executing. Ole Miss signee TJ Caldwell was playing really, really well. Jaden Toppin, a 2023 forward. I love his upside and his potential and just what he brings to the table right now with rebounding, running the floors, finishing with both hands through traffic and length. Faith Family was really, really rolling. But one thing about Kimball, and you'll see the other side of it. later on, and when topic says, there's no deficit that's too big for them. So they're down 25. It could be 8 minutes and they can get that down. They could be up by 10 points just like that. So, Trey Clayton had a 26-point second half, and he helped Kimball beat Faith Family. So it was very telling. It was like a narrative, like a storybook. The kid that come back and played his old high school team and had a big second half and helped him win when his team was down 25. But Kimball's very potent, just with Texas signee Arterio Morris, Clemson signee Chauncey Gibson, 2023 T. Brown, who real scrappy on defense and gets downhill, and then DeCannon Wickway, who's a 2023 forward, athletic, plays hard, and you got Kyron Henderson. The list goes on. I mean, they're talented, very talented group. So that's the Phil McNeely Classic.
At the Phil McNeely Classic covered. Now we're going straight to Rj Hampton Showcase with our man Stacey Houston doing what he does. It felt like this was a star-studded event, always is. You look at the sideline pictures and the people that are in the building, kind of sitting courtside or hanging out at the gym. Always feels like there's great energy and great talent in the building for the Rj Hampton Showcase. Let's talk about that one.
Yeah, so the Rj Hampton Showcase, it was at the Comerica Center. I loved it. I have my teams participating every year, even though this is the second year, but we're all locked in for every year. I'll go to my team.
Who is your team again? Yeah, we got to give a shout out to your team real quick.
Taka Storm is a homeschool-based program, and we actually have 2 varsities this year. So both varsities been good. This varsity with Texas Tech signing Robert Jennings is 7-1. Then we got a young varsity group we call Varsity Black, Taka Black. They're 6-1 right now, so they've been pretty good. We actually Taka Black suffered their first loss against Dream City Christian out of Arizona, their second team. So it was very interesting. It was a group of 2025s. And we Taka Black lost by a 40-foot buzzer beater. So I thought it was a classic to start off the day. For the Stacy. Jaden Toombs is a big fella, 2025 in that group that's really talented. Jermaine O'Neal's son, Jermaine O'Neal Jr., a 6'4" wing, really, really talented, long arms, has crazy upside as a wing. And then another player, Leroy Kelly, who's a freshman guard. Leroy and Jaden just picked up offers from LSU last week. Leroy's a really talented, fearless shot-making guard. And for Dream City Christian, Jaden Quaintance, 2025 forward, upside out of Ohio, long arms, athletic, made a couple threes on us. Didn't think he could do that, but I mean, he's going to be a player that's going to be a top 25 player in the country, no doubt. And that other kid out of Canada, Jay Peon, really, really talented, about 6'4" wing forward out of Canada. That Dream City Christian group is really talented. And I thought that game was I think it was 84-83. So definitely want to note that game. A lot of talent, a lot of guys you're going to see in the top 150 in the country in that class in that game. Another game to note, you had O.D. White and Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson came out with the victory. Good team effort. Woodrow has a lot of talented sophomores with Isaiah Pankey, LaKendrick Taylor, and they have some other guys that just play a really good role. O.D. Wyatt is headlined by a kid that I have on like my stock riser list, but like more on an honorable mention. That's Miles Rigsby, junior, about 6'4" guard, kind of like plays a little old school. It's like your Chauncey Billups, your Andre Miller type, will post on smaller guards, strong lower body, finishes around the basket, can hit open shots. He had 36 that game. Miles has been really good. Obviously, he takes a lot. He can take a lot of shots, but you definitely see the talent. Another game to note was Kimball and Duncanville. That was a very interesting game. Talk about Kimball and deficits. They were down by like 17 points, and Kimball, that lead evaporated quick, and Duncanville's in the dogfight down 12 points in that fourth quarter. And Duncanville ultimately ended up winning by tipping by a combination of Ronald Holland and Anthony Black. And that was actually the first game Anthony Black got cleared to play. Was that Kimball game. Arterio Morris was fantastic for Kimball. Just, can hit tough shots consistently, and he's athletic. And once you get in transition, he's a monster. Anthony Black, same thing. First half was amazing. Just, playing fast, getting downhill, finish around the basket, and just a high level feel of a passer, and has great vision. People talk about vision and passing. He has both. Sees it, and he's a hell of a passer. And then Ronald Holland doing his thing. And then the kid, Eric Demings, who's a 2023 guard, and I'll touch on him later, was very good hitting open shots, defending. He's gone a lot better off the bounce. So the Rj Hampton Showcase was a really, really good showing, especially in the second year. First year was fantastic. Second year was also fantastic.
I like it. We're going to keep the program going. Ani's in his bag right now. You see, we got the clear out. It ain't about me talking. This is the clear out. For those that don't know, this is the clear out section of the show. We're going to go straight to DFW Hoop Fest and the Hoop Fest events. We know there's multiple nowadays. Glenn Smith's doing his thing. Glenn Smith will actually join us later on, so stay tuned for that, giving us some behind the scenes of the Hoop Fest as well. But Ani, go ahead and talk about the Hoop Fest.
So the Hoop Fest was, you had a lot of talent, as we do every year. But when you go from Fridays, just matchups, and Saturday, you had really good matchups in the Duncanville High School in Sandra Meadows, and then you go to Dickey's Arena too. So in Fort Worth, there was a lot of good basketball being played that weekend. North Little Rock, they have a trio of guys headlined by Oregon pledge Khalil Ware, and then Arkansas pledge Nick Smith. Nick Smith was just cleared to play from a wrist injury 10 days ago prior to their game against Kimball. And I know this is the third time talking about Kimball. Kimball actually had a 20-point lead on North Little Rock, and that second half, Nick Smith was very aggressive. Was scoring, facilitating, was more assertive. You can tell he had to get the rust off. And then that led to him having a monster game against Faith Family. Averaged about 18 points in 2 games. But, Khalil Ware was fantastic. Was the best big man in that showcase. By far. It wasn't even close. Averaged 26 points per game and 17 rebounds and 4 blocks. Khalil, he doesn't dominate games like physically bumping you, dunking on you. Is so finesse and skilled. You don't see 7-footers do what he do, like Euro step in tight spaces and finish. I don't want to compare him to Wilt Chamberlain, but if you go back to Wilt Chamberlain clips and games, he's on the side and kind of finger rolls it like that. Khalil has very uncanny and unorthodox finishes that you're just like, how did that go in? And it's rebounding at a high level. I loved watching Khalil play. He was fantastic both games. And just to put up those averages in 2 matchups and getting 2 high-level matchups was just unreal. But North Little Rock also has a senior in Corey Washington, about 6'5", 6'6", athletic. I think he's a Division I basketball player, no doubt about it. And just really, really excels as a slasher and finisher. Keep going into the Hoop Fest, Duncanville U. I actually wrote an article about the Hoop Fest on the NBN magazine that's authored by Dino Stragonis, who is the owner of Pangos Camp. So go check it out. It was a really good read. So I'm just going to touch on a little bit. So you got Duncanville. I said Duncanville University. Anthony Black was very good on both games. Ronald Holland was fantastic, averaged about 26 points. 26 points that weekend. Eric Demings, again, like I highlighted him earlier, was really good, defending and hitting shots. And he just gets a lot done. He's really matured as a PG. Definitely can't forget Northern Arizona signee CJ Ford, who's hitting shots at a high clip off the catch. Obviously, he's always been a good defender and a good offensive initiator, but just his shooting off the catch has just been really, really, really good. So we're going to go some out-of-state guys like Jared McCain out of Corona Centennial. I believe the best shooter in that class in 2023 on the move, off the catch, off the bounce. Just efficient, off hard closeouts. I just seen him just shoot it with mad confidence and it goes in. And, he's just your hybrid guard that just gets a lot done and just a threat. Once he crosses half court, he's a threat to make the shots. Kajani Wright for Sierra Canyon, had a 22-point, 15 rebound outing against Duncanville, which Duncanville beat Corona Centennial on Friday, then beat Sierra Canyon on Saturday, which they had Dickies Arena packed on Saturday, with Sierra Canyon has Bronny James. But, Kajani Wright, just one of the best rebounders in that class, arguably the best rebounder in the 2022 class out of California. So, really, really talented big. AZ Compass came in there when they initially came in, they're the number one team in the country. Had two really tough games. One against McKinney, only won by 5 points. Jacoby Walters, who's a 2023 for McKinney, and one of the best in the country, had 26 points, 7 rebounds, 5 steals. I wouldn't say Jacoby doesn't play hard, because he does play hard, but that was the hardest I've seen Jacoby play. And he was fantastic. Tough shot, makes tough shots, can handle it. Doesn't really blow by you, but can create space because he changes speeds really well. So, really, really good there. And then they lost to Richardson. AZ Compass did by 23 points. Kaysen Wallace and Rylan Griffin, I think they combined for 48 points. And they won the game 61-38. So, that is arguably, and to me, there's not a lot of argument against them not being the number one backcourt in the country. But in my opinion, they're the number one backcourt in the country. Just fantastic, just with the shot making and defending. Ryland's really committed himself on the defensive end this year. And Kaysen, he's just a two-way, just monster that has just improved as a shot maker. So, Richardson came in and gave AZ Compass, that work. But, AZ has a big man and a Drame Diongu who's 7 foot with a 7'5" wingspan. And as you see in this clear out, I'm going to talk about unsigned seniors because this is going to head on to, what one of my topics going later on in this show. But Adrame, 7 foot, 7'5" wingspan, runs the floor like a gazelle, was blocking shots, had a fantastic outing against McKinney. UCLA signee and Dylan Andrews was really good, had 19.7 assists. Kylan Boswell, Indiana's commit at I think 2023, I believe. Just really make shots, confident. You hear me saying confident a decent amount, but just there was a lot of confident guys taking tough shots and consistently making them, which, that's just high-level basketball. So, and then Mookie Cook is a 23. That's, one of the top 15 players in the country, I believe. So, you had a lot of talent with the AZ Compass group, but they did get smacked by Richardson, and McKinney gave them a scare. So, last thing I'll talk about, a few notes, like Austin Nunez had 27 points against Coronado in a win for Santonio Wagner. Drew Steffi was fantastic in their game against Coronado. He had, I believe, 28 points. And Drew Steffi's he's a junior, and he's had a hell of a season, started the season. I think he's someone that's answered a lot of questions about his ability after a strong spring to summer. This fall, he's playing really high-level basketball right now. So there you go for the Hoop Fest.
Good stuff. The ISO continues. The ISO continues to clear out. Clear out. You can hear the coach saying it now. Let's go underclassmen notes. We're going straight to it.
Mm-hmm.
Go get a quick water breath. We're back to it. Back to the clear out.
Hold on. You said water break.
Yeah, you got to get the water break. We still coming back to the clear out. It's a 20-second timeout.
All right.
Back to the clear out. They haven't stopped them yet.
Right. Like, this is the timeout session where, I got the board and I'm out like I'm writing something, but I'm just saying, hey, give it to Robert and clear out,
Get out the way. It's his time right now.
So, all right, well, we back at it. So, underclassmen. So, there's 5 that I want to headline or highlight, and that's Trey Johnson for Lake Highlands, 2024 kid. He's a bucket. He didn't have a great outing in the Hoop Fest. Didn't have that offensive onslaught that we're used to seeing. But at 6'4", long arms, really shoots the basketball, score it. He can score 30 and a half, and it's nothing. He's just like, okay, whatever. This is a normal day in the office. So definitely Trey Johnson's an underclassman. Really, really like top 3 on ESPN right now. in this class, and you definitely see the ability. Another 24 in Dallas that's been playing very well is with John Paul II's Liam McNeely, about 6'6", 6'7", Swiss Army knife. One thing I do like about Liam is that he can score it. As offensively talented as he is, defensively he really competes and he wants to compete. You don't have to make Liam compete on that end. And he really moves well laterally. He uses his length. He can guard guards. I've seen him guard 3-4 different positions in the game. So definitely want to highlight Liam. There's a kid, a 2025 kid out of Allen, Texas, Trent Payne, about 5'10", 5'11". I mean, electrifying, dynamic guard, shifty off the bounce, make plays for others, athletic. I mean, he's one of those kids you don't think, he's going to the lane and you think he's just going to do a little simple finger roll or whatever. He can go in and dunk on you with his size and just his speed and ability, just overall natural ability. I think he's the next guard, and that 25 class in Texas is loaded. And Trent Payne has a chance to being that next guard out of the DFW. I mean, I'm very, very high on him. Staying in that 25 class, Jed Nansa for Hillcrest, gotten better. Had a really good Pangos Southwest camp, was in the top 30 game. He was one of the MVPs. And, just coming to the season, before he was more of a back-to-the-basket rebounding guy. And that's something that he hasn't lost. He still rebounds. He still will get back to basket. But I see more face-up game. And their ability to use his quick first step and his length to finish on slower guys and less athletic guys. And his shooting has some promise. I mean, the mechanics are not bad at all. Jed Nansa, about 6'6", 6'7" right now, a lot of ability, a lot of upside. I'm buying stock on him. I think he loves the game. He works at it. And from seeing him from July to October, then October to November, there have been leaps. So I'm big on leaps and progression. And so but the last one, we'll go back to the 24 class, Jalen Shelley. He's very intriguing. I went and watched him Friday. Oh, not Friday. I'm sorry. What was that? Tuesday. And they played Frisco Memorial. And Frisco Memorial was beat Frisco Lone Star pretty good. But Jalen Shelley is very, very intriguing. 6'7", reported 7-foot wingspan. He's a guard. I mean, fluid handle, shot don't look bad at all. All the ability. When you talk about in that 24 class with Trey Johnson, Liam McNeely, they have a sizable lead on anybody, like on the third or fourth and fifth guy. But Jalen Shelley has a chance, I don't think it's this year, but he has a chance down the road of being right there with, at the elite tier. Very, very talented kid. Just has a lot of work to do. But, just seeing fluid guard skills for someone that's 6'7" with crazy length. And he has a crazy basketball like background with his family. Brothers was a football, was just athletic background. Brothers is a quarterback. Dad played, sister played, uncle played. I mean, it just goes down the road with him. I mean, so I think he's going to be a player that we'll definitely hear a lot of soon. So that's my underclassmen notes.
Underclassmen notes, great stuff. Yeah, sometimes it can be easy to focus on with this new portal, which we're going to talk about. It's easy to focus on just the next class and not almost look at the next class and the next class. So when I say next class, upcoming class. So right now that would be 22. People just focus on 22, but it's like 23, 24, 25s can still hoop. But with the portal, it's just so many different ways you can go with recruiting. So we'll get to that here in just a second. Next one we got, I believe, might be the portal. Let me make sure I got my notes. Oh no, we got 5 stock risers. Almost.
Yes.
This segment right here, a little sizzle to it. So let me get the production team in the back to make sure you're ready for this one. 5 stock risers from ISO Ani himself. All right, let's do it.
So number one for me is, and this isn't in any list, but just the one I want to highlight first is Eric Demings. Again, I've talked to him about Duncanville. He's a junior. From a kid that I was like, he has a Division I chance, to being a kid that, is a no-brainer Division I guy. And he's a kid you can put a level on him, but looking at how he's progressed, you just wait and see. Right now you would say probably low to mid, right? But if you told me Power 7 conferences are really, really looking at him and liking him, I wouldn't be surprised either. He's came a long way. Just his maturity and just, he's gotten his body's better and he's getting stronger and still making shots and defending. Like I said, off the bounce has just been so much better just as far as creating for himself and others. So Eric Deming would be number one. Number two, we're going to go down to Houston. Keanu Doss, 6'8" forward out of Stratford High School. A&M just offered him. Talented. I mean, no brainer, top 15 to 20, probably you could say higher in that class in 2023. Skilled, can put the ball on the floor, can shoot with efficiency, high level passer for a kid his size. I mean, there's a ton of upside. Obviously he's not the toughest kid right now. But you can't teach high feel shooting will impact, and just the overall skill standpoint for a kid his size. I mean, that's what they look like. So Keanu, man, big time stock riser right now. I love watching him play. So number three for me would be Deion Thomas out of Houston Legacy. So we're going to stay in Houston. 2022 kid that's just made a lot of noise. Athletic, 6'7", long arms. You only got to run the play for him. He's just going to rebound, get put back dunks, run the floor as hard as hell, and finish. And, he's going to talk his stuff to you. I think he's been fantastic. I think Deion has been really, really good for PJ Kuznar's group. And I think he's someone that, schools have kind of been calling a little bit, but I think they need to continue, to really take a serious look at a kid like him. I've seen a decent amount of college games, not just TV, but live. And, one thing that it helps me, and then in talking about a kid like a senior, like a Deion, or, there's another kid I'm going to talk about that plays for me that, you pick, can they play there, right? Like, if you put them here right now, you put them there with 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, could they play there? Are they talented enough to play there? Are they capable enough? And there's a decent amount of places that I'm like, Deion could play there. No doubt about it, like right now. So I think he's someone that people, schools really need to take a look at. And next one will be Jalen Lowe. 2023. What school does he go to? I apologize, Jalen, in Marlin. But, man, had 2 40-point performances. I think, Jalen's been fantastic. I think he talked about 2 schools that have been reaching out to him. I think it's just it's been Texas Tech and Texas State. And, those two just know what they're looking at right now. Jalen's been fantastic. I loved him in the summer. I actually had him as the number 1 pure point guard in that 2023 class in my positional ranking. So very high, very, very high on Jalen Lowe. I think he's a high major guard. And he's starting to show that. And, like Brian, like you touched on, just with, with the portal and everyone, just the overall adjustment. I think at the end of the day, if you can play, and you'll go somewhere where they believe in you. And Jalen, he's a junior. He has time, but no doubt about it, stock rise. It's been fantastic. Last one for me, it's kind of, these two is like 5A and 5B. And CJ Nelson for Harker Heights. Harker Heights, I think, is ranked 4th in the state in 5A or 6A, I believe. And CJ's a 6 foot. He's a senior, 22-point guard, very shifty. Has like an unorthodox way of like finishing versus length. Tough, skinny, but like, man, just strong though. Like, you're not gonna push him around and stuff like that. He's been fantastic. He actually helped Harker Heights win the Mansfield tournament this past weekend. And then this kid right here, CJ Luster with with Ataka, shooting 55% from 3. Has had fantastic, showing for me. I mean, I love coaching CJ. Yeah, he's a kid that's a no-brainer Division I guy. And I think same thing with CJ Nelson. I believe it's Nelson. just those two kids are just no-brainer Division I guys, and been fantastic for their teams and helped lead their teams to wins. Who knew who Harker Heights was really before they came to that Mansfield tournament and beat Amarillo and beat Timberview and stuff like that. Right. Those guys are just, that's not easy to do. So, those stock risers.
Yeah, great stock risers. A little bit biased towards one I coach. You talked about Jalen Lowe. He's at Fort Bend Marshall.
There you go.
Yes. I got to coach him back in the day at the Lucas camp. Shout out to Marlon, who's a family of All Access and family of my own. Known him a long time. Been grinding this thing together on our own little lanes going through this thing. But you mentioned Texas Tech and Texas State. Texas State head coach used to be a coach within Texas Pro, so there's relationships there. And then Talvin Hester has done as good of a job recruiting guys from Texas Pro and Marlon's program as in the country. So that makes sense why those two schools would be recruiting him. And if he was to not play in a Power 5 situation, Texas State, no one has a chance outside of that in the mid-major realm. But I do think he's going to have more high major opportunities. Yeah, the bias. I had to say something about that real quick.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. That's fine. There's a little bias.
I don't hide bias. I don't have to no more.
Oh no. That's just what it is.
The transfer portal. Let's talk about the portal. It's real out here in this portal. How does that affect things as we finish the clear out? How does the transfer portal and what's Ani's thoughts on that? How does it affect recruiting?
Right now, I have about 40 points right now.
So you and Jalen Lowe in the same bag.
Right. I feel Jalen. I feel Jalen. Like it's like me right now shooting a ball in the ocean right now. But talking about the portal, it's an adjustment for everybody. But I just want to break it down a little bit. Obviously, the guys that transferred at one time are eligible right away. For how does it affect high school kids? Gone are the days where, if you have a committable offer, you can kind of just sit on it and wait for something to happen. These coaches are going to be looking at the transfer portal to get guys that are already ready, right? If I get the 21-year-old guy, even older, that has had Division I experience, their body's already ready. And we actually have film like on synergy, and we have the stats and all of that, to determine what they could be in our league, compared to a high school kid where we have to wonder what is the level of competition he's playing in. His body's probably not ready. Those things that kind of are impacting the high school kids. They want guys that are ready to help them win. These college coaches do. So, they look at a high school kid. A lot of these guys do look at high school kids as ones that you got to develop. And not saying they don't develop the older cat. It's just the older cat is just more ready most times. So, that's the thing that high school players have to understand, right? And then you got to be patient too. So if you don't have anything right now, like a Deion Thomas, like a CJ Luster, like the kid from Harker High, CJ Nelson, the list goes on, Trey Clayton. There's a lot of kids that don't have anything right now. They have a few things, but, they don't have what they want. You got to be patient. You got the transfer portal kind of take its course, right? That March, April, beginning of May, that's going to be it gets crazy. But then what I saw last year, it did die down. And then they started kind of going back to, recruiting the high school players, the ones that are available. And then guys went to the level that was appropriate for them, right? You just got to be patient as a high school player. You can't look at it right now, I'm doing this and doing that. I'm not getting this, and schools aren't reaching out to me. This is in a second year of existence with how the transfer portal is. So it's an adjustment for college coaches too, because, they're still trying to figure out, how, there's some sample size on like how the transfers being eligible have affect teams and winning, but there's not a whole lot, right? So right now, these college guys or these college coaches who have to be on their teams for practices and be at games, they don't have enough time to really watch high school games, right? And where I can just go on Synergy and watch some college games. So I can, go on TV and watch some games, and I can have the stats right here. But, one thing I would say for college coaches is, you know, in my opinion, this is my opinion. I think there are guys you get from the portal that aren't as talented as guys that are available as high school seniors. And I truly believe that there's a lot of really talented guys that can help teams, in my opinion. I won't say a lot, but there's a decent amount that can help teams at the appropriate level right now. And I think that's all about just continuing to trust your eyes, right? Just the ones that are available, the ones that are getting very limited contact or none at all, in the traditional years would have probably about 5 to 8 offers that they can that they can choose from. But, it's an adjustment. I just say everyone just has to be patient. It's easy to be mad at the college coach, right, for these coaches not really recruiting these high school players like that right now. But, they have a boss. The boss is like, I need to win right now, so we're going to go get a transfer portal kid at the 4 spot or at the guard spot because we need someone that's potentially more ready, right? But, at the end of the day, if you can play, you can play. And you're going to show that. They're going to see. So I would just say for high school players, just need to be patient. And for college coaches, I think you need to take a little bit more time and, have a diet. I mean, there's no problem with having a diet of mixing it with high school kids and transfers. Obviously a bunch of 18, 19-year-olds aren't going to help you win your league more times than not, unless they're just mad talented, unless you got some stuff that Kentucky and Duke had, right? And, the guys that transfer over, there could be some stuff because, they transfer over, they have the expectations. They have a lot of expectations for getting this, getting that. The one thing is that, they transfer again, that they can't go, they have to sit out. But, when you got a lot of older kids that see that time window from here, like a freshman do, to about here when you're 21, 22, it's a little different animal that you have to deal with compared to, a kid that's younger that would understand that it's going to take some time. So, again, with the portal, it's something that's been crazy. Like you said, Burton, it's affected 23s. It's affected even 24s because guys are like, we don't know what we're going to have at that time, right, as far as scholarships. And we don't know if we want to get someone from the portal at that time. But I will say this, there's a good amount of unsigned seniors that at the right level can help right now. and I would encourage college coaches to have that diet of mixing with high school and transfer. So that's my take on it. That's a final piece on the clear out. Now I just put up 55 on y'all.
55 for my man Ani in the first ever ISO Ani clear out segment. I love it, man. We're going to kind of just jump into some topics here. You killed that. Transfer portal, I'll just say this. It definitely changes the game. I think that basketball as a whole, as we're all saying this year, college basketball is better. I think prep school basketball is at a higher level. JUCO basketball is at a higher level. It's almost weeded out or I don't want to say weeded out, but it's weeded out a lot of players that maybe don't really love to play.
Right.
And the guys that may have been at a certain level before, like you said, probably don't have the same amount of offers. They may not have any offers. And I think high school guys are kind of flying under the radar more and more, which I think almost just creates even more of a – what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, it just creates a lot of hope for players. If you really love this game and you'll put in the work, you can get to where you want to go, whether it's through the transfer portal. So I just went to a game last night. Here's a good example. Brandon Everett, right, is now done playing college. He's from Richardson High School, okay, played at Richardson, played with Wallace, if I'm not mistaken, who went straight to UTSA.
Right.
And kind of had his bid major out of the beginning. Well, Brandon Everett's probably, 5'10" on a good day. Explosive guard, can really play. Well, he goes to Stephen F. Austin, signs with Underwood and Mike Boynton there. Then they get to Oklahoma State. So he never even shows up to Stephen F. Austin in the late period. Well, then he goes to Oklahoma State. Plays a backup role for 2 years, averages about 6 a game off the bench as a sophomore, really good numbers. Could have made that next jump. Decides he gets in the portal. So then he sits out, goes to Utah Valley, has some success there. His coach leaves. Long story short, as a grad transfer, he goes to BYU, plays on a national stage, then is an all-conference player, and is now playing professional, and a guy who had to do it a different way. There's going to be way more of those stories now. There's a ton of guys that have gone JUCO and done some of the same things. Obviously, Jimmy Butler from Texas went straight from, but I just think you're going to find so many players everywhere. Like, you're going to play teams, you're gonna be like, where did this kid come from? It's harder and harder for people to keep track of the players, which is why people like you become so important. I'm not so important, but I can at least sneak in a bit and help because there's just so many players, there's so many good players, so many great stories. I got one more great story from a kid from Dallas. I'll give a quick shout out to Demetrius Underwood. Most people don't know that name, right? Demetrius Underwood went to Mesquite, from the Mesquite area. Sister played at Texas. He plays Division III for 5 years, technically, because he redshirted 1 year. He was injured. Well, then he gets his COVID year. He's a 2-time All-American at my alma mater, UT Dallas. Then he transfers, and there's no portal if you're D3, but he transfers, right? Everybody knows about him. He all of a sudden kind of gets some film out there. The next thing you know, he's going to college of Charleston. He starts for them. He was all-tournament in our Rising Coaches Classic. He also has hit a game winner this year. I mean, the guys, they love him there and feel like he has a chance to play in the G League and maybe even find a role in the NBA if he can continue to develop because of some of the things he does. So here's a D3 guy that is now playing mid-major basketball at a high level in a high-level program. So I think, we've all seen the guys at ORU. Max Abness chose to stay, which is very rare in this day and age, and he's having an incredible season again. Had a 38-point game just earlier this season. Tulsa in a big game, ORU did. So they're going to continue to do great things. But then you have his same teammate, Kevin O'Banner, chooses to get in the portal, and he goes to Texas Tech. Now he's having success there. So there's a lot of ways to do this now. And I think if players or anybody who's listening, you should be encouraged because there's an opportunity. You just got to show you love the game. You got to roll your sleeves up. And the guys who work, they always rise to the top. Right. So we'll go national. Okay, let's go national. Okay. I'll get a pick on this one. I'll take a pick. We'll actually go one high school, one JUCO. I'm going to throw that in there on you today. I didn't prep you for that, so I'm putting you on the hot seat. So I'm going to steal one from the Hoop Fest. Okay. I'm going to go not too far away from Texas, so don't judge me out there. I don't even care. But David Castillo. Yeah. Real high-level player. Guard out of Oklahoma. I believe he's at Bartlesville High School in Oklahoma. High-level guard who can really score, can really get buckets. He's probably better than Ani was today at ISO Ani clear out. He has that ability to score at all 3 levels. He can make plays for himself and for teammates and just continues to – I thought on a big stage with the Hoop Fest, he just showed how he belongs with the best of the best and then followed that up with another 40-plus point game after the Hoop Fest. So national spotlight, wanted to give him some love. He's my pick for kind of showing some national spotlight selections.
Absolutely. I love David Castillo's game. Really operates well in pick and roll and scores it very well. Had a great summer with Team Griffin. Right. Came in the Hoop Fest. He had a hell of a game against Lake Highlands and helped his Bartlesville team win. I would say my choice would be Devin Williams from Corona Centennial, about 6'9", forward, athletic, bouncy, plays really hard. Don't know his stats from his game against Duncanville, but impacted that game. Was a big piece for Corona in their comeback attempt against Duncanville, which they won 5 at the end. So Devin Williams is my national player spotlight.
I like it. So we're going national JUCO now. I'm actually going to be here. I actually am here in Salt Lake. I kind of mentioned I'm here in the Utah area, so I'm going to go second. Okay. But I'm going to let Ani go first.
Ooh, so, I have to go on a national JUCO player, and he's a Dallas kid.
Okay.
But I like what I saw, and that's Shaquan Scott.
I was hoping he's at Salt Lake, so I'm going to see him tomorrow.
It was fantastic when I saw him play at the Mullins event. And he's had a good season. I've been keeping track. He's athletic. plays hard, skilled, face up, back to the basket. I love guys that just will rebound at a high level in traffic. So, Shaquan Scott's mine. You threw a little curveball at me. I ain't never played baseball before, but I think I'm wondering.
I mean, you were on the ISO in the clear out. I had to figure out a different defense to stop you, man. You have 50 right now.
55.
Oh, excuse me, 55.
Yeah. 56. But no, Shaquan Scott would be mine. From Salt Lake, been playing really good basketball. Coach loves coaching him, and he's been a great player over there.
Been playing at a super high level. You kind of took mine. I was gonna go Salt Lake. I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna give my boy. We're gonna stay in Texas. We did say national. Well, no, we did say national. Let me stop.
Say national.
Let me stop. I really wanted to go, so I'm gonna go back to my original. I'm gonna say Chase Adams from Salt Lake.
I do like
point guard. Played at Link year. Now, did you see him play?
I did see him. And the Mullins, I did see him. Chicago kid, right?
I don't know the answer to that. Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, tough as nails. Gets wherever he wants to, makes plays for others. I mean, he impacted the game, and I don't think he took maybe like 3 shot attempts in the first half.
Right.
Just
teammate of Shaquan Scott.
Yeah. Makes it. Hey, he helps make Shaquan Scott. Shaquan Scott's really talented, but having a guard like Chase Adams helps too.
Yes, he is from Chicago. I'm pulling him up now. Chase Adams. Just one of those dudes, man. Just I don't know what his actual height is, and I don't even care. He's an undersized, sub 6 foot guard. We'll put it that way. But he has the ability to play above the rim. Just understands winning. He had some monster games in this season so far, where he's had those numbers that kind of put all the doubts out of Division I coaches' minds that, like, is he a Division I player? Well, he's proven that by the numbers he's putting up. His team is winning. He's showing he can play with other elite level guys, can create for himself or for teammates, can be a ball hawk on the ball. I just like his his competitive edge. I got to see him in the Jamboree in Colorado. That Brandon Goebel hosted the JUCO Advocate event, and they didn't lose a game. They still haven't lost a game, and he doesn't have to start, but he plays as if he is a starter. They probably have 12 starters over there with the talent that they have.
Absolutely.
That's probably why they're still winning. I'm looking forward to watching them in practice, kind of getting to know those guys a little bit and getting a feel for them. But I was really impressed with his competitive nature. We kind of talked about those guys. He reminds me of like a Brandon Averett, right? Goes the different route to get there, undersized, sub 6 foot guard, but he has all the stuff to be special at the next level. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he looks up close in person and getting a chance to chop it up with him and seeing what that's like. So, all right, we got our JUCO section. We got our national spotlight on that. Let's see what else we got on the program real quick before we leave. Let's go high school program spotlight. Let's go one Texas, one national. I'll go first with the Texas. It's hard. It's impossible not to because they're on a national level. But you talked about them having the best backcourt arguably in the country. I just think when you take down AZ Compass like Richardson did as a public high school, there's no recruiting going on there that I know of. It's a regular public Richardson ISD high school. So for them to go in and on the biggest of stages and beat the number 1 team that has all this kind of hype around them on this prep school circuit where they are doing recruiting, they do have multiple high major prospects. I just love to see those dudes show up and be like, you can have all the names you want to have. We're 2 high major guards right here, and we got a squad, and we're going to get it done. So I'm going to give Richardson a nod for the spotlight for Texas high school teams.
That's a good choice. Like you say, just how they just handled AZ Compass. With that group.
Wasn't even a question about it.
And they from top to bottom, they're just tough. I love what Coach has been doing at Richardson. So, that was actually mine, but, I was able to kind of flip it around, change it up.
Hey, I got to change the defense on you, man. Oh, my God.
I'm going to go McKinney. I think McKinney.
Good choice.
They've done a great job this year, with Jacoby Walters, obviously the headline, but, you got Jacoby Campbell, you got Thatcher, who's available. prospect, about 6'6", athletic kid in there. You got Alexander Mekwe, who's going to SMU, who's just a rebounding machine. Mcneely, they have shown they're one of the best public schools in the country. Right. I would say no brainer, top 25, and there's a lot of room for growth because you got youth. I don't think they've even reached halfway through their ceiling of how good they can be this season. Right. And I think coach has done a good job just in competitive games. Those kids, staying composed and winning close games. And again, like they were down 20-some points by the AZ, and they had a fury comeback and almost won. So, right. Shout out to McKinney.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go national first since I stole yours. See what you got for us on the national.
Okay, I'm gonna go. On this one, this is a team that's always top 5 in the country, but I do really like what I'm seeing from IMG, with Keontae George, Jaden Bradley and Drace Walker.
I think they're currently number 1.
Are they? Okay. Yeah,
currently number 1, just pulled it up. It looks like they're currently number 1. We know they had that kind of buzzer beater
against Montverde.
Yep. Who's number 2 according to this?
Montverde. Oh yeah, Montverde's number 2, yeah. And but just Keontae, Jaden Bradley, Drace Walker. I know I'm missing, but Jet Howard. Their guard play is fantastic. They're fun to watch. I just enjoy watching them play. That game against Montverde, they played Oak Hill. They kind of had a slow start and they got back around and won it. I mean, they've just been a fun group to watch, and they're just entertaining. I normally don't follow like the heavy hitters that much, but like just by the way they play, I just enjoy watching them.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna go biased. I'm gonna go hometown where I live now. We haven't shouted out Colorado much now that I'm out here. I'm gonna go Colorado Prep. I've got a chance to see them play. Love their 2 signees going to Northern Colorado. I love their underclassmen. I think that shout out to Xavier Silas and his dad. I'm gonna pull him up real quick for the roster that they put together. The roster they've been able to put together and done a good job with their schedule. Sometimes you feel like some of these prep schools, it's like, okay, it's here.
It's gone tomorrow.
It's going to be there tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I think that's one of those things that you definitely appreciate how they've been able to put that together. But, I really like their team. I really like their ability to play as a team. Let me see some of the guys on here. So we got I'm getting better at this technologically advanced while I'm on the broadcast.
There you go.
What we going for this year?
All about progress, Coach. All about progress.
Yeah, it's all about it. Just jump out there. Who cares? If you don't like me, then turn it off. You know what I mean? You can't fire me. I ain't going nowhere. We got Brock Wintz. I believe that's how you say it, if I'm not mistaken. He's a Northern Colorado signee. They got one other Northern Colorado signee. I just want to make sure I get names correct. But there's one big man I want to highlight as well. Langston Reynolds is the other Colorado State.
I like
Northern Colorado signee, big time athlete. And Brock is kind of one of those, like, I don't even know what position he is. He's a forward. He can play 4 or 5. He's tough. He can step out and show his skill. He can bang inside. He's kind of got that inside-outside game that's very mismatched, that tweener game that really makes a difference at the college level. Langston, a high-level athlete above the rim, is getting more and more versatile as a playmaker for others. But, man, the big man, I don't even know how you say his name, Bay Amdu Nango.
You said it better than I could.
When I tell you this dude is a baller, 6'9", 2023. I mean, this dude's playing against the Salt Lakes and the JUCOs at this event, and he was a man amongst men in 2023. So I want to give a shout out to them real quick. Colorado Prep, if you haven't seen them, they're on the grind session. I think they'll be in a Tarkanian Classic coming up. So I want to give a quick shout out to them. I think we're getting close to the end of the show, honey. It's almost that time, man. We're in the closing 5 minutes. We're going to give one. We'll give 2 each. Texas college prospects that are playing well right now. I think it's a no-brainer to give Kenneth Lofton his love.
For sure.
What he did this summer with the USA team. Now he's doing his thing back with La Tech. again. I think he had a 38-17 rebound game earlier this season.
Mm-hmm.
He is hands down one of the best, if not the best, big man in the country, especially at the mid-major level. So I got to give shout out to him. And then again, my Texas bias and going back to Colorado State, we actually did our first interview with a player on one of our other shows, College Basketball Heat Check, and that's Isaiah Stevens. Arguably the best mid-major in the country. A lot of people have him in their top 25. Isaiah Stevens, and if you watch the interview on our network or podcast or YouTube, you'll be able to see just like this dude is just such a champion of a human. You know, like you can understand why he won a state championship at Allen as a junior, and he has this quiet humility, but he's got a swagger where it's like, yo, I put myself up against anybody. And he puts in the work. I think that's what I love about him. And so unselfish. He doesn't have to do it in one way. He said his favorite player is Chris Paul, and he's very Chris Paul-like.
Yeah, makes sense.
How he impacts the game because he doesn't have to score, but yet he can kill you from scoring. He doesn't have to just get assists. He can defend. He can make plays. And Colorado State has just had a monster win against St. Mary's. And they're proving that they're one of the best in the country, no matter what conference they play. And so that's my two from Texas that I will highlight, and I'll let you get the dime to ISO.
There you go. I got Kevin O'Banner. I thought he had a solid game against Tennessee. Had 10.7 rebounds. Kevin O'Banner, I just love just seeing his progression throughout the year. You know, in high school, just more of a back to the basket banger guy. And then now, you know, being a efficient stretch guy at the forward spot. And, you know, Tennessee, that's a tough, you know what, they're 12th in the country. And then to come in and have a solid performance there.
Got the dub.
Yeah, and got the win. That's the most important thing. And then his former teammate, Max Adams.
The ORU boys.
Yeah, just Max has been fantastic. You know, they came over here and played TCU. Didn't have the greatest of shooting nights, but you could definitely see like why he's a pro prospect and why there was 16 NBA scouts that game, you know, with him. Right. And also, you know, I know we did too, but the third would be Mike Miles. I just saw him play Utah last night and was fantastic. But you know, those two, you see why NBA scouts are showing up, and Max just unlimited range, you know, from deep. It's just fantastic. Just his ball skills, but definitely like those 2-3 guys, you definitely have to highlight. Been fantastic.
This is our we're gonna talk one upcoming event. We'll let Ani talk a couple upcoming events, but before we do that, we got a new segment that we're gonna call For the Culture. All right, for the culture. Just a moment, something that stood out, something that was significant this week in the basketball culture, whether it be something stylistically that was great. Somebody brought some crazy swag that's like, okay, that's gonna be a thing now. Whether it's a certain performance somebody had, whether it was a certain whatever it may be. So I'm gonna kind of go with the Ball brothers, and they're playing against each other. Chicago played Charlotte. You have older brother, younger brother playing against each other, and just give shout out to LeVar Ball. Like for the culture, everybody tried to make it seem like, and media wanted to make it seem like. And I'll go ahead and say it, this black father was off the chain and he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he did it in a way where he knew he was going to command the attention, but he almost gave his kids an out in a sense because he was just this outlier being crazy over here in people's mind. But everything he said has turned out to be true. I mean, we talk about the Manning brothers and how much now these guys haven't won championships yet as far as the Manning what they've done, but they were just such a, you know, prestigious family and coming in, and, you know, Archie Manning gets all this credit. It's like, wait a minute, LeVar Ball needs some credit because not only are they in the league, not only were they two brothers drafted top 5, which has never happened before, but these dudes are as good as any. I mean, at that position, they're elite at that position. We're not talking about guys that are just solid. And what Lonzo's done with his shooting ability and his improvement, I just got to give credit to whatever he did as a father to put those. Obviously, the genes are the genes, but you still got to go do it. And these young men never get in trouble. They always keep their nose clean. They always have fun with it. They've been in the limelight since they were young. and they're doing it. They're performing, and similar to what LeBron has done with that magnifying glass on you all the time as a kid. These dudes are just getting it done, and they're tremendous young men. And I say that they're probably, they're not young men, but they are young men. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So they're pros making millions, but I mean, been out of college or would be in college. I think Lonzo would be like maybe a senior out of college now. He's been in the league 5 years, 6 years, and then Melo still would be in college. So I mean, that would
right. No, for sure. The Ball brothers, credits to LeVar. Credit to LeVar just for what he's done with those boys. It's been fantastic. And Lonzo's in a situation he can really thrive in Chicago. And, LaMelo's, just been LaMelo. I'll say my take will be, that Desmond Bain coming into town against the Mavs. He had 31 points. And,
in the league.
Yeah, in the league. And then
Desmond Bain, quick backstory, from Indiana, did not really get recruited that much, went to TCU, had a great career at TCU, was an all-conference player in the Big 12, but still wasn't a guy people were thinking is going to be this NBA pro, but man, is he killing. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, he's killing. And he's, I was at that game and just to watch him, and every time he scored, I was at TCU's finest. Like, I was laughing. I was making people look at me crazy because Memphis was, they went to work on the Mavs that game. I know they lost last night to them, but this was the game in American Airlines.
Yeah, just another one of them stories to jump in. Just kind of, you can't let other people tell you what you should be able to accomplish or not.
Right.
Desmond Bain, man, and not a flashy game, but number one, he has an elite level skill at making shots. But he's also just one of those dudes. He's such a winner of a person and a competitor. It's about winning. It's not about the stats or the flash. You just got to give him enormous credit for what he's doing, man.
Absolutely. And, he's another, to you're saying, is just like we were saying, just guys, y'all got to be patient. You're going to go to the right level. Right. He was a kid that was underlooked, and look where he's at now. I'm not saying y'all are going to make it to the NBA, but if you like you said, if you love the game and you put in the work, you will maximize your effort.
Let the work do the talking. Be patient and just hungry and humble, and just if you want to do it, don't let anybody else tell you you can't do it. Just go make it happen, and not make it happen overnight. It ain't an overnight story,
right?
But the work will always do the talking at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So. Great show, season 2, episode 1. As good as the episodes we've ever had.
It is.
2 great guests coming. We have Teddy Wheeler from Houston Basketball University / a lot of things Teddy does, but he has his Stars and Stripes event coming up, so we'll talk about that. Glenn Smith's coming on. He has already had the Dallas Hoop Fest, Texarkana Hoop Fest. Now he's coming to Salt Lake City in the Utah area, so I'll be here for that live in the flesh because I want to be able to support Glenn and see the great things he's going to do. Expanding that, you never know. You could see me and Glenn collab on something. You never know. But I'm looking forward to that event, and then we'll let Ani say whatever events he thinks is good to be looked forward to, and then look for those 2 episodes from those 2 gentlemen who are doing great things in the space. Also, shout out to Teddy, whose son is killing it for Kentucky right now.
Man,
I think he's leading the nation in assists, and I should have spotlighted him as well, which is only 2 choices you can get, but he'll get the one next week. We're good.
Because he's going to have big-time performances.
Right.
Yeah. I would say, again, like you said, the Hoop Fest in Utah this Friday and Saturday. You got the Tarkanian Classic coming up in Vegas.
That's a big one.
You got the Whataburger Classic, and that'll be a Mansfield Legacy after Christmas. And, we got some teams from out of town coming in. iSchool's running an event. You got Minnesota Prep and some schools out of New York coming in after Christmas as well. So you got some good events in the city. You got some big-time events out of the state. And, those are – I'll probably be at the Tarkanian for a day. Then I'm going to come back in and watch the games over here. And speaking of Teddy, I've seen his son a couple of times, the younger one, Montana.
Yeah. He's coming.
Very talented.
He's coming.
Going to be a Division I basketball player. Time will tell what level, but I have full faith he's a Division I basketball player. He's very talented. Very, very
Yeah,
talented.
he's already gotten some Power 5 offers. You don't know if that's because of – sometimes you feel like that maybe because his brother and seeing where he was at this phase and some of those coaches. Some people just can see it and they know. But I wouldn't expect anything less. He's definitely cut from that cloth. He's no different than his brother. He is different, but he's cut from the same cloth. He's has more scoring ability now at this stage in his game and is about a bucket much more than Xavier was. But what a great episode. YouTube, you can find us, Apple, Spotify. We will be every other week. We will not put the pressure just yet, but it's coming. Don't worry. It's a slow build. You got to let the isolation, you can't try to ISO a dude all the time. We got to play some team ball too.
Yeah, so we got to run some plays,
Got to do that. That's important. Otherwise, we'll be looking like USA team taking L's in the international. We can't do that.
Right.
Got to do both. So, you'll find us every other week here. And then in between, I'm sure you'll find little sound bites on social media to be able to kind of keep the content rolling, because there's a lot of great stuff that Coach Ani has highlighted, and also Scout Ani has highlighted. So all that being said, be blessed, be safe, be grateful. See you soon.
Peace.
We out.